Alrighty, so it's been 3 months, give or take, since I last played this game, and in those 3 months, what has changed? Well, gonna be honest with you here, Chief, I can't really say. Okay, maybe that's not entirely fair. Some stuff has definitely changed. Number one, the player count has dropped by like a bajillion %. And number two, the chests are no longer one-time use and actually respawn. I don't know what makes them respawn, but hey, at least that's something, right? I imagine there has been other things that have changed with World of Stands over the last 3 months that I'm not gonna touch on here, but I did want to take a look at the game just because most people have more than likely forgotten about it. And I was included in that because I'd forgotten about it until somebody sent me a DM on Discord and was like, hey, you should go play this game again. And honestly, I don't really know why they wanted me to play this game again. Because like I said, not a whole lot has changed. But I do want to take a look at why the game fell off so hard, because that's sort of what this channel is at this point almost. It's looking at Roblox JoJo games that come out, have like 20, 30,000 players, maybe even more like this one did, and then tank all the way down to stand upright rebooted levels of players. And so the question always becomes, how do you end up on the same level as stand upright rebooted? Now, when it came to returning to this game, there were a few things that didn't surprise me whatsoever. And the most notable of those is that the storyline progression and stuff has not gone anywhere, and I didn't expect it to. I don't exactly know how they plan on rolling out the updates for this. I don't know if they want to finish all of it first and then put it out, or if they're going to do what YBA did years ago and just put it out in chunks. But regardless, point is, nothing has been done on that front. You still have to wait until the storyline progresses. Egypt isn't done. Nobody's surprised there. But it's been 3 months, so I guess we can take a look at other things that I was upset about that probably haven't been fixed. Spoiler. The shop. Pretty sure there still isn't one. You can correct me if I'm wrong. As far as I can tell, there's no shop in this game. Despite the fact that you have money, you can't just go out and buy Rokas and arrows to try to get the stand you want. Okay, so that begs the question, how do I get Rokas and arrows so I can get the stand I want and I'm not stuck with sticky fingers? Ah, well that's easy. Just go kill a bunch of people, rack up a bounty, and then buy it that way. Okay, so you want me to just go out and randomly murder people. That's the goal. Hey, fair enough, I guess. Like, don't get me wrong, it's awesome that this is an option, but why is this the only option? Okay, it's not the only option. I'm being unfair. What else can you do? You can go around the map and open up the pre-placed chests, and they might have Rokas and arrows. Or you could go and do like a 20-minute domain, and that might or might not get you an item. I'm starting to see some cracks in the armor here. I think one of the things that will always be funny to me is that when I first went through and played this game and talked about it, there were a lot of people that told me that I was just wrong about the item situation, and the solution to getting as many items as I wanted is to pull an alt onto the server and kill them over and over again. Just listen to that back. If you're one of these people, say that out loud to yourself. It's easy to get items, Eclipse. Just bring on an alt and then kill it over and over again. Does that strike you as good design? So just for me, speaking for me, I won't speak for any of you guys, but speaking for me, I don't think that pulling an alt onto your server or going into a private server and killing them over and over again is the correct answer to being able to obtain items. I think that maybe there should be a more intuitive way of doing that. And I don't even know if that works anymore. For all I know, that's been patched, but that's what people said when the game first came out. So okay, getting items is a pain, getting stands is a pain, but at least the stand that I have works, right? Right? Okay, so the stand that I have doesn't work. Isn't that absolutely f***ing brilliant? I don't know what they did because this move worked before, albeit it was buggy. So, you know, I'd be glad if they fixed it and made it work properly, but that's not what happened here. Say hello to Sticky Fingers G ability, which just doesn't work. How many stands are in this game again? Hang on. So, if I'm reading this right, there should be 11 stands in World of Stands. That's not that many. How the hell do you have 11 stands, but then have an ability on one of them that just completely doesn't work. Like, sure, if we go to AUT, for example, they had a metric shitload of abilities, and a lot of those abilities had moves that were buggy or didn't work properly. But at least they had the excuse, unless I'm doing it wrong. But if I'm doing it wrong, then it means it's the most unintuitive ability of all time. Because I've tried letting it time out, I've tried pressing the key again like you used to do, I've tried clicking, none of it works. You just go underground, and then you pop back up where you started. Congratulations, you got nowhere. Not only does this ability not work, but apparently it also has the tendency of completely blocking you from jumping. So now I can't jump. Why can't I jump? I don't know. Couldn't tell you, but I can't do it. Well, I suppose while I'm here, I might as well play one of the domains, right? Because, you know, the domains are a pretty good time, and maybe I'll get one singular arrow, and then be able to use that one singular arrow to get another sticky fingers. So we'll pop in here, we'll play a little bit, get to the final boss, and he's sliding around the floor. Okay, well, it's still kind of winnable if he's sliding around the floor, as long as I'm able to hit him with enough attacks and he doesn't hit me with the laser attack, which spins him around in circles like an absolute psychopath. It should be fine. Like, this is winnable. I can still complete this despite the game's best efforts to... He's in the wall. Like just flat out, he's gone. Dio Brando is gone, and he's not coming back. All right, unstick character. Nope, still gone. Maybe I'll run back the way I came, come back. He's still gone, and it looks like I wasted my f***ing time. So, does this kind of thing just only happen to me? Or do nobody play the domains? Or like, what's going on here? Because I feel like this should not be a problem. Just how? How is this a problem? You made me pay money and use an item to enter this domain, and then you soft locked me. Like, what the f*** am I supposed to do here? Alt F4. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's the only answer. The only answer is Alt F4, because nothing else works. Let's see, other things I mentioned. I remember talking about the whole leveling process. I mentioned the fact that because you had to fight real players in order to level up your skills, it meant that you were just at an objective disadvantage when fighting people. So maybe they've fixed that. Nope, they haven't fixed that either. Or I guess they want it to be that way. I mean, I've been here long enough to know that there's a large portion of the Roblox community that does not care about balance and just wants to be able to crush people with overpowered stuff. And it's not even like the upgrades make you overpowered, they just put you at an objective disadvantage. For anyone who didn't see that first video, again, the way that you level up a few of your skills in the game is by attacking real people with them. Now think about it this way. If you take two people, one person who has sticky fingers and they've leveled it all the way up to max, and one person who has sticky fingers but hasn't leveled it up to max, and that person who hasn't leveled it up to max is fighting the person who has in order to level it up, they're at an objective disadvantage. And if the person with the fully leveled sticky fingers hits the other person less times, they can still win. That is really f***ed up. That's fine if it comes down to, like, you didn't spend the time to level up against, you know, opponents that aren't just objectively stronger than you, but they force you to fight players. Like, what the f***? Well, that's okay. We've reached the section of the video where at least I'll be able to show off the new content. So let's go see what's been added. Right on, so they've added Hamon and King Crimson. Hamon I need an item for, and King Crimson I need arrows. And we've already talked about why I can't get arrows, so I hope you enjoyed the new content, everyone. Woo, new content! World of Stands always struck me as a bit of an odd game when it came to a lot of the decision making around longevity and trying to retain players. And I think it's also a good example of a game that can't be directly carried by its visual effects, because that's usually the first judgment that you see when it comes to these games, and it's something that I think people give way too much credit for, my past self included. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter how good your effects are if your game just isn't good. And I know, I'm a big meanie. I came out here and said their game isn't good, but come on, guys. Have you been watching the video? It is sort of a shame, though. Well, more than sort of a shame. Definitely a shame, because it's clear that a lot of work, time, and effort went into creating all of the stuff that's part of this game. In my quest for new content that failed miserably, I ended up with Anubis, and Anubis's effects and all of its abilities are really cool. I think I'm at the point where I can comfortably say that I'd rather end up playing a game where there are stands and none of them have any visual effects whatsoever, and the gameplay is good, than having fancy effects and just no substance. It seems like when it comes to the conceptual design of a lot of these games, far too much time goes into worrying about those first impression visual effects, and less time goes into actual gameplay or, thought on game design. First impressions matter, visual effects do matter, but when it comes secondary to gameplay, it causes a whole host of problems. And I think that's why it's always funny to me that YBA took 8 million years to try to update and get on board with visual effects, despite the fact that it's still hands down the most popular game in the genre. Like, when we look at where YBA was at compared to World of Stands or AUT or any of these other games, the visual effects and stuff like that were not even remotely up to par. And yet the player counts of those games were vastly different. So where am I going with this? I don't know. I think the point's been pretty much made here. It's been 3 months. Where's World of Stands at? Nowhere, I guess.